Hello everyone, I'm Alex Villarreal. Welcome again to Talk to Us. Today on the program, we are talking about 5 English words, specifically verbs. 5 English verbs you need to know. These words, I have Vu with me right now in Vietnam. And Vu, these words that we're talking about today come from the TOEFL exam that people take, the English as a foreign language exam to be able to study in the United States. And so we took these words from there and we want to talk about them. So the word that I want to discuss with you, Vu, is the word affect. A-F-F-E-C-T, affect. Do you know this word?
Yes, I know.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the meaning of this word. The dictionary definition of affect is to cause a change in or to influence, to make a difference to. Let's say you've been working a lot, you've been very busy, you haven't been able to sleep very much. So you might say, not sleeping is affecting my health.
Yes.
Right? Because it's having an effect on your health. Now, when we talk about affect with an A versus effect with an E, those are used differently. Do you know the difference between affect and effect?
I know effect is a noun and affect is a verb.
Very good. Yes.
It's a verb.
Yes.
Cause and effect. You know, because I'm a Buddhist. And I know the law of cause and effect.
An effect. Very good. Yes. That's a great way to remember it. Cause and effect. And of course, both of those words, cause and effect, are nouns. And that's a very common way that we can remember the difference. Affect being a verb, effect being a noun, meaning outcome or result. So this weather is having an effect on me, or the weather is affecting me. So 2 different ways, but they kind of mean the same thing. All right, so Shaho, today our topic is 5 English words you need to know. And let's go with the word detect. The word detect. D-E-T-E-C-T. I'm going to write it to you so you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, detect.
Means realize. Means realize.
Yes.
Detect. Detect. I know what means of detect.
Yes. So detect, right, to realize, to find, to discover. The dictionary says detect is to discover or notice the presence or existence of. So I might say that when I speak with you, I detect that you have an accent. Or you might say that when you speak with me, you detect that I have an accent, that I have an American accent.
Yes.
So that's detect, and it's usually something that you notice without someone directly telling you about it. Another word we can talk about that's kind of related to the word detect is the word infer. So, do you know the word infer? Now, this is a difficult word. This is one of the more difficult words that we're talking about today. Infer means to conclude something about someone or something based on evidence or clues or reasoning, your own thoughts, rather than direct knowledge. So, for example, if I hear you speaking and I detect, let's say you're let's say you're from Iran, and let's say I hear you speaking in English, and I might infer, because I hear an Iranian accent, I might infer that you were born in Iran. Right.
For example, I infer, according to your accent, you are American, yes?
Exactly. So what can I infer about our conversations together? I can infer that you are a pleasant person to talk to. You know, that kind of thing. You can use it like that. What can you infer? So someone might ask you, it's usually used in formal speaking, usually more in formal speaking. So when you're asked a question on a test, or possibly in professional communication at your job, that's something that might be used. Now, the noun of infer, I'm going to write this for you, is inference.
Inference.
So that is the noun. I just wrote it. INFERENCE. So someone might ask you, they could ask you, what can you infer about Greg based on how he's dressed today? Let's say you see Greg and he's wearing a police officer's uniform. Well, you could probably infer that he is a police officer.
He's a police officer.
Even though you don't necessarily know that for sure, no one's told you that Greg is a police officer, but when you see him wearing the uniform, you would naturally infer that he is. But if someone could also ask you, what kind of inference would you make about Greg based on his outfit? So it's the same idea, but just using it in the noun form. Inference.
Inference.
Yes.
Inference noun. Infer verb.
Exactly. Inference noun, infer verb. Exactly. So Tom, today we are talking about 5 English words you need to know. And we're specifically talking about verbs, so action words. So today with you, I'd like to discuss the word mark, to mark. Do you know this word, mark? M-A-R-K. So you talk about mark when you're trying to say you're observing or paying attention to an occasion, an event, a holiday. You'll say you're marking an anniversary, for example. So that's one example. And then the other way is mark as in put a symbol or a line or a word on a piece of paper or on a chalkboard. So, and then there are other ways that it's used. Another interesting way that it's used, and this is a way that I saw it used in a TOEFL practice exam, which is, it had a marked effect on him. The accident had a marked effect on him. So when you use marked as an adjective, as a describing word.
Obvious, like an obvious effect.
Exactly. Obvious, strong, powerful, significant, noticeable effect. It had a marked effect on him. So another word we're talking about today is the word convey. Do you know the word convey?
Of taking one thing from one place to the other.
Exactly. So transport, carry, but it can also mean something that's not physical, that's not action, but that's meaning. So if I tell you something, I'm conveying meaning. Words, for example, words convey meaning, right? So what I'm saying to you right now, you're hearing it and you're processing it, not because of the sounds I'm making, but because of what the meaning is of those words I'm saying. So that conveys meaning. So that's another word that you might find on the TOEFL exam.
Okay.
Yes.
Convey.
Convey.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
Convey And when we want to talk, is it possible to make use of convey? We want to convey a meaning, convey a message
Yes.
to someone.
Convey a message, exactly. So,
in that sense, you want to convey a message to a particular person, you want to convey the meaning of a particular thing to someone. Okay.
exactly.
That's
So,
interesting.
right. So a song also conveys a message. Exactly. That's a really good example of the word convey, but it can also, like you mentioned before, mean physical transporting.